All right, let's dive into something that is, let's be honest, one of the most frustrating things about modern dating. You know the drill. You meet someone, the first few dates are amazing, the chemistry is just electric, and then, almost like clockwork, right around that 3-week mark, crickets, radio silence. So, why does this happen over and over again? Well, we're going to break down the psychology behind it right now. And this is really the place we have to start. Because if you've been in this situation, it is so easy to think it's just a streak of bad luck. Or maybe there's something wrong with the people you're meeting. But what if I told you it's something else entirely? It's not random, it's actually a pretty predictable psychological pattern. So let's give this whole thing a name. We're going to call it the 3-week cliff. You know, it's that point where a connection that felt like it was going somewhere amazing just suddenly hits a wall and falls off completely. It's super confusing, totally disheartening, but understanding it, that's the first step to finally avoiding it. I'm sure this sounds familiar, right? You're swapping these long, thoughtful messages, the banter is just perfect, you're already planning the next few dates in your head. You feel like, wow, this is it. You feel seen, you feel excited. And then, all of a sudden, the replies get shorter, plans get kind of vague, that warmth you felt is just gone, replaced by this confusing coldness. And you're just left there wondering, what did I do wrong? This really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What on earth happens in that short period of time that can totally blow up something that felt so promising? Here's a hint. It's probably not some fatal flaw you suddenly revealed. Nope. The answer is usually in a really subtle shift in the dynamic, a shift that often happens without us even noticing it. And here it is. This is the core idea. The number one reason that early spark just fizzles out is because certainty kills curiosity. See, attraction really thrives in that space of the unknown, that excitement of discovery. When you close that space too quickly, the attraction can disappear right along with it. This leads us to what you could call the certainty trap. It's that moment where, totally unintentionally, you signal that the chase is over. You make yourself 100% available, you put all your cards on the table, and you make it crystal clear that you are completely sold on them. Now, this usually comes from a good place, right? You're just being open. But what it accidentally does is it removes all the tension and intrigue that really fuels that early attraction. Okay, now look at this, because this chart really breaks down the feeling of it all. On the left, you've got certainty. It removes the mystery, and for the other person, it can start to feel like pressure, maybe even an obligation. It kind of signals the end of that fun getting to know you phase. But then look at the right side, curiosity. That invites discovery. It feels like an adventure. It creates real excitement and signals the beginning of a journey, not the end of a chase. So, if the certainty trap is the problem, what's the solution? Well, this brings us to something called the attraction triangle. Think of these as the 3 core qualities that, when you balance them, create real, sustainable interest without falling into that certainty trap. First up, we have curiosity. And listen, this is a two-way street. This isn't about being cold or playing hard to get. It's about being genuinely interested in who they are, their stories, what makes them tick. But at the same time, you're not a completely open book from day one. You have your own life, your own friends, your own passions, and you reveal those things slowly, making them want to learn more about you too. Next point of the triangle, consistency. And this is such a crucial distinction. Consistency is not about texting back 2 seconds after they message you every single time. No, it's about being consistent in who you are. Your values are steady, you do what you say you're going to do, you're reliable. That's what builds trust, and trust is everything, but it is completely separate from being constantly available at the drop of a hat. And finally, the base of the whole triangle, confidence. This is that inner knowledge that you are a whole, awesome person, with or without them. Your self-worth isn't hanging on whether or not they text you back. This is not arrogance, not at all. It's a quiet self-assurance that is incredibly attractive because it takes away any hint of desperation. It shows you're choosing to be with them, not that you need to be. Okay, so we've got the theory down, the attraction triangle, but how do we actually put this into practice? This brings us to the most practical, actionable part of all this, the art of matching energy. Think of this as the skill that helps you navigate those tricky early stages of dating without tripping into the certainty trap. So here's the absolute key. Your goal in the first few weeks is not to lock it down or win them over. The goal is simply to match the energy they are giving you. If they're sending you thoughtful, long paragraphs, great, you can do that too. If their replies are a little shorter, a little less frequent, you just adjust. It's like a dance, and the key is just to stay in rhythm with your partner. And this breaks it down into 3 simple steps. First, you observe. Don't just act on impulse. Pay attention. How often are they reaching out? How deep are their questions? Second, you mirror. You just reflect that level of investment back to them. This shows you're interested, but that you're not overinvesting. And third, and this one is so important, create space. Don't feel the need to fill every single silence. Let there be moments where they wonder what you're up to. That space is where curiosity and real anticipation start to grow. You see, when you start practicing matching energy, you're not playing some kind of game. You're actually doing something much more powerful. You are letting the connection breathe. You're giving it the oxygen it needs to actually develop into something real and something that can last. And just to be super clear, this has nothing to do with manipulation or playing mind games. It's all about self-respect and pacing. It's about preventing that burnout that happens when one person is putting in 110% of the effort and the other person is kind of hanging back at 50. By building it slowly, you make sure the foundation is solid and that the interest is actually mutual and genuine. Ultimately, this all comes down to a really fundamental shift in your mindset. You have to stop focusing on the outcome, getting a partner or securing the relationship. Instead, focus on the process, building one healthy, reciprocal connection. The moment you let go of that pressure for an outcome, you can actually start enjoying the journey of getting to know someone for who they are. And so we'll leave you with this question to think about, because your answer really says everything about your approach to dating. If you're dating to secure an outcome, you are way more likely to fall into that certainty trap. But if your focus is simply on building a connection, well, then you naturally give it the space it needs to breathe, to grow, and to become something that lasts far, far beyond that 3rd week.